Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining us for our informational webinar on year 3 of the Community Accelerator Grant, a statewide grant program funded by the Paul G. Allen Family Foundation and intended to provide essential capital for Washington State's arts and cultural organizations. My name is Ellen Milligan, and I am the Vice President of Grant Making at Arts Fund. For a visual description, I am a white woman in my 30s with long dark hair wearing glasses and sitting in front of a blue virtual background that says Community Accelerator Grant. As we begin today's webinar, I would like to acknowledge that the city of Seattle, where Arts Fund is located, is on the occupied lands of the Coast Salish people, specifically the ancestral land of the Duwamish, Stillaguamish, Muckleshoot, and Suquamish tribes, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. I would also like to acknowledge that many with us today are on different territories, and we join you in honoring and recognizing those as well. To make today's event more accessible, we have a number of accessibility features. We are joined by 2 ASL interpreters, Francis and Justine, who will be spotlit throughout the program. You can enable automatically generated captions by clicking on the Show Captions button in the meeting control bar. You can click and drag the provided subtitles to move their position on the screen. You can also click on the small arrow to the right of the closed captions button to adjust your subtitle settings or to open the full transcript at any time. Please be aware that the subtitles will not be 100% accurate as they are automatically generated. We will be sharing a professionally captioned recording of this webinar on our website within the next several days. Captions will be available in English, as well as French, Japanese, Korean, Mandarin, Portuguese, Russian, Somali, Spanish, Tagalog, and Vietnamese. For accessibility, each of our speakers will also visually describe themselves the first time they speak, as I did at the top of the program. In just a few moments, you'll be hearing from Michael Greer, Arts Fund's President and CEO, who will provide an overview of the Community Accelerator Grant Program. Today's webinar is intended to provide clarity around eligibility for the program and to offer insight into the application process. We will walk you through the application portal and then hold a brief question and answer session. Realistically, we aren't going to get to everybody's questions this morning. We know there are many folks in the room today. So if you have a granular, specific question that is specific to your organization, we would encourage you to reach out to our grant making team via email at accelerator@artsfund.org. We have also put together a webpage of frequently asked questions, which is available on the program's website at www.artsfund.org/accelerator. We highly encourage all applicants to review the FAQ page before submitting your applications. And without further ado, here's Michael.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Michael Greer, and I am the president and CEO here at Arts Fund. I am a light-skinned Black male with no hair, black chunky glasses, and wearing a charcoal turtleneck and sitting in front of the same blue virtual background with Community Accelerator Grant on it. Arts Fund is excited to once again be partnering with the Paul G. Allen Family Foundation in order to distribute $10 million to arts and cultural organizations across the state of Washington. Arts Fund recently conducted a livability impact study of the arts, which sought to answer the question, does the presence of arts and culture enhance the lives of Washingtonians? We found that people in communities with abundant cultural resources are more connected, more involved, and have more economic opportunities. The study confirmed to us a belief that has long been at the core of what we do, that a healthy arts and culture sector is a tool that can be used to create a better quality of life for everyone. The Community Accelerator Grant is intended to bolster the arts in all corners of Washington state, and especially in communities that have traditionally been the furthest away from large-scale philanthropy. These funds are unrestricted because you are the experts in what you do, and our goal is to boost your ability to invest in your missions and to serve the communities in whatever way you know is most impactful. So I'll say thank you in advance, and with that, I'm going to pass it back over to Ellen, who will talk you through some eligibility parameters for this grant.
Thank you, Michael. So let's get into the details of this program. The Community Accelerator Grant is intended for arts and cultural organizations in Washington state, as Michael mentioned. We want to support a wide variety of groups, but we also want to make it as easy as possible for organizations to understand if this grant program is intended for them. So in order to be eligible, groups must meet the following key requirements. First, your organization must be based in Washington. Next, your organization's primary mission must be to produce or support arts and cultural activities, and we'll talk more about what that means in just a moment. Next, your organization must have existed for 3 or more years. And then over the last 3 fiscal years, including the one you're currently in, you must have an average annual operating budget of at least $25,000. We're asking you to calculate this number by adding your total revenue from your last 2 fiscal years to your budgeted revenue from your current fiscal year and dividing that number by 3. Your budget does not have to exceed $25,000 in each of these 3 fiscal years, but the average size must be at or above $25,000. If you are applying with a fiscal sponsor, this budget requirement applies to your organization, not your fiscal sponsor. Finally, you must meet one of these 3 conditions. You must be a 501c3 public charity. You must be fiscally sponsored by a 501c3 public charity, or you must be a federally or state recognized tribal entity. As cultural heritage and artistic practices are embedded in the work and daily life of tribes, tribes will be considered eligible regardless of whether they have a formal mission statement encompassing arts and cultural activities. Tribal entities focused on artistic and cultural activities, such as culture departments and tribal museums, are eligible to apply if they meet the minimum budget requirements. Multiple entities affiliated with the same tribe may apply if each meets the eligibility criteria. Many of the eligibility questions we receive about this grant relate to our definition of arts and cultural organizations, so I'd like to take a few minutes to speak to that question. If your organization's primary mission is to produce or support arts and cultural activities, you are eligible for this grant. If your organization's primary mission is something like conducting historical research, providing social services, or organizing a volunteer corps, while that is obviously, wonderful work, if supporting arts and cultural activities is something that you do as well, that puts you outside the funding scope of this program. If you're a cultural organization, in order to be eligible, your work must contain a significant artistic component. So as an example, let's consider 2 hypothetical organizations. The first is a history museum dedicated to preserving and uplifting the history of their region. They do this by archiving documents and photographs, interviewing long-term residents, and organizing exhibits of historical artifacts. This is a cultural heritage organization, but their work does not contain an artistic component, so they would not be eligible. The second is also a history-focused organization, but does its work by curating and displaying artwork made by area residents and producing a monthly podcast about local musical traditions. Because they have a significant artistic component to their work, this organization would be eligible. Current Arts Fund grantees are welcome to apply if they meet the requirements of this program, and organizations that have previously received Community Accelerator grant funding are welcome to apply again, though neither are automatic guarantees of eligibility or funding in year 3. Likewise, if your organization was determined ineligible in the past, that does not mean you are automatically disqualified this year, though, as you will note, the eligibility parameters of this granting process are very similar to past cycles. If you still have questions about whether your group is eligible, there are many ways to get more information. You can ask broader questions here in this webinar using the Q&A feature, and we'll try to get to your question in the second half of this hour. You can review the FAQ page on our website at artsfund.org/accelerator. And if you have specific questions related to your organization's eligibility or the application process, you can email us at accelerator@artsfund.org, or call our Accelerator specific phone line at 206-788-3051 to speak with a member of the grant-making team or to leave a voicemail. Starting on April 29th, the phone line will be staffed on Tuesdays from 12 to 3 p.m., Wednesdays from 2 to 5 p.m., and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And again, all this information is available on our website if you want to refer back to it. And now I am going to pass things over to our Grant Operations Coordinator, Celine Chen, who will be presenting our application and the application portal.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Alan. My name is Celine Chen. I'm Arts Fund's Grant Operations Coordinator. I'm an Asian woman with dark hair in a bun and wearing gold glasses and a gray shirt. We are about to walk through the Community Accelerator Grant Application Submissions portal. Before we get started, I want to note that this is a preview. The application portal will not open until April 29th at noon Pacific time. We will send out an email and post the link at artsfunds.org/accelerator around that time. We've shared a PDF of the application on our website, so you can preview questions in advance. But if you cannot create a profile or start an application until the portal opens on April 29th. I'm now going to share my screen and show you what the application portal looks like. As you can see, this is our login page. If you have applied for grant through Arts Fund before, you can use your existing credentials. If not, you can use this page to make a new account. Once you've created an account, you can revisit the portal as many times as needed. As you can see, there's a sign up option here for you to create your credentials. As you can see, again, this is the homepage, and you can see details about how to apply it. And you can see further instructions about translations. And when you reach this page, your first step will be create a profile to get started, which will take you to the eligibility form. This form will allow you to find out if you meet the minimum eligibility requirements. If you answer no to any of the coming up questions, you will see a message display that tells you that you are ineligible. I'm going to enter information about my organization. Let's say I am a gallery focusing on interactive art, which is still a nonprofit. And I'm going to answer yes to other questions so you can see how it looks like. But again, if you answer no to any of the questions, you will not be eligible to this to this application. Now, assuming that I am eligible to I answer yes to everything, I can click this blue button to go to the following 4 forms. When I click that, I'll be taken to the application process screen, where there are general information form, financial information form, program and demographics information form, and ACH form. For this demonstration, I'm going to start with the general information, which is, now I'm clicking, and it will automatically populate the name of my organization. one important things to know here is that if you're a physical sponsor, you'll be asked to share your physical sponsor's ENI and a PDF of your signed physical sponsorship agreement letter. And please be sure that you enter your address and zip code correctly. This is the data we use to ensure that we are reaching organizations in rural communities. This applies to both organization that has physical sponsor and organization that don't have. The final element I want to cover beside this basic information is that is the last area of is the focus area of this form. This is important because this helps us understand how your organization fits into Washington's arts and culture sector. As you can see, there is a drop-down menu here that allows you to select your organization's primary and secondary focus, if applicable. Last but not least, please know that there is an option for other in both focus area. But if you feel like your primary focus area is not covered by any of these options, you can select this option as other. But if you feel that your primary focus is not covered, but you do meet the requirement, you can select other, and also provide the context in 100 words in this text box at the bottom of the page. If you would like to share information about your organization's artistic work that might assist our review team in making an eligibility determination, this is the place to do it. But again, this is fully optional. Now that I'm going to walk through the financial information form, as you can see, one important thing to note here is that we are asking you to submit a 990 or 990 easy for 2022, 2023, and or 2024. If you do not have a 990 or 990 easy, please instead upload financial documents that include an income statement, balance sheet, and statement of cash flow if applicable. These documents should be for your most recently completed fiscal year. So we are asking for actuals, not budgets. And please know that we cannot accept 919N. If that's what your organization files, we'll need you to submit the financial documents instead. Moving on, if your organization has paid staff, we are asking you to enter your personnel expenses for 2023, 2024, and 2025. Personnel expenses are costs associated with payroll, including salaries and wages. Stipends and contracted services do not count. So if your staff is entirely contracted or entirely volunteer, please enter 0 and please note that personnel expenses should be included in your organization's total operating expenses. We are asking for this line item separately for research and advocacy purposes. It will not be covered. And moving on, this last question to this form will not be scored. Moving on, the last question on this form is asking you to quantify by how much your you anticipate increasing your revenue from this grant, not including the amount of the grant award. A few examples of how you might do that will be using the grant as evidence of your organization's credibility in other grant applications, asking for larger grants, asking for unrestricted grants, and diversifying your funding sources. We understand that your response will be an estimate, and it will not have impact on your award. I will now close this page and go to the next form, which is the program and demographics information. This is, there's one section that I would like to take a moment to highlight here, which is about the definition of centering. As you can see, the demographic data, which is the section about the data used in determining the award. The demographic data you provide as part of your Community Accelerator grant application will not be revealed by Arts Funds, will be revealed by Arts Funds staff. The data will then be anonymized across applications and share with our community advisory panel, which is a geographically and demographically diverse group of cultural and philanthropic leaders assembled with the purpose of ensuring decision-making is as close to communities as possible. If you choose to provide demographic data, it will be factored into your organization's award consideration. If you choose to answer demographic data questions with do not know or prefer not to answer, you will not be penalized. The benefits of demographic representation will not be factored into your award consideration. And one more definition I would like to highlight here is the definition of centering, which is the statement, below use the word centering rather than including. We use this word to indicate a deeper level of engagement. Centering indicates that these people's voice are not just included or invited to participate in an organization's programming, but are the focus of an organization's work. People from centered population are telling their own story, and programming is intended to be culturally relevant to their expenses. And another important thing to know is that you may notice one shift we made from last year to this year here is in the staff demographic section. We recognize that many organizations are run by contractors who are paid by stipends and rather than salary. In the past, we asked these organizations to identify of having 0 staff. This year, if your organization is run by contractors, please complete the staff demographic sector on behalf of your contractors. If your organization is run entirely by volunteers, please complete the staff demographic sector on behalf of your only core volunteers who hold meaningful levels of responsibilities. As of course, if your organization has any staff members on payroll, please complete the staff demographic section exclusively on behalf of your staff members on payroll. And please be sure that the headcounts you provide at the top of this form match the total headcount of match the total number of staff and board member reported for 2020, 2024 and 2025 throughout. If you have additional questions about this and any other parts of the process, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at accelerator@artsfunds.org or via our phone line. I'll save and close this form and go back to the application process screen, which I will go through our last form, the ACH or automatic clearinghouse form. And first thing to know that is that for both organizations, bank information, which is physical sponsored or not physical sponsored organizations, we need the bank routing numbers for both your physical sponsor bank information of your physical sponsor and your organization, and both bank routing numbers should be 9 digits, as you can see in this help text. And if your organization is physical sponsor, we only want your physical sponsor's bank information, which means we don't need your bank information. And once you have completed all 4 forms, the submit button on the upper right hand, after saving all 4 forms, it will be ready here, and you can send it off to us for review. But once you have submitted your application, you can no longer make any edits. So we do encourage you to wait until everything is completely ready before clicking submit. And this is the end of the walkthrough. I will now stop sharing my screen and invite Arts Fund's Vice President of Strategic Initiatives and Communications, Katie Corella, on screen.
Thank you, Celine, and thank you to everybody who's been submitting their questions through the Zoom Q&A feature throughout this webinar. My name is Katie Corella, and I'm a middle-aged white woman with shoulder-length brown hair. I'm wearing a black and white plaid button-up shirt dress with a black cardigan over it, sitting in front of a blue Community Accelerator grant background. Now we would like to open up for our Q&A. If we don't get to your question today, I'd like to remind you that the FAQs are posted now on our website and are available in English. We also have FAQs available in the following translated languages: French, Korean, Mandarin, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Tagalog, and Vietnamese. Japanese and Somali translations are coming soon. Michael and Ellen, will you join Celine and me back on screen? Great. And Celine, could I have you back on screen? Thanks so much. All right, our first question is, when will funding decisions be made?
Yes, Katie. Organizations will be notified by September 1st, which means funds will be distributed by the end of September.
Great, thank you. Our next question is, will I have to report that the funding was used in the way we reported in the application? Will my organization be penalized if we use the funding for something else?
I can take that one. So there is no reporting required for this grant. These grants are unrestricted, and recipient organizations should use the grant dollars as they see fit. So the questions we asked on the application about how you anticipate using funds are for research and advocacy purposes only.
Thanks, Ellen. Our next question is that there's a wide range of award amounts. How do you determine who gets how much?
Thanks, Katie. I'll go ahead and grab that. This is Michael Greer. So all applicants will automatically be considered for the maximum award of $25,000. And applications are scored on a set of criteria that have been determined by our community advisory panel. And those evaluation criteria are designed, as is indicated elsewhere in the program, to prioritize organizations that have been furthest away from large-scale philanthropy. And that includes Black, Indigenous, and people of color, LGBTQ+ communities, people with disabilities, and organizations that are based in rural populations. So our community advisory panel is made up of a group that is both, we try to make it both geographically and demographically diverse and representative of the arts and cultural organizations and philanthropic leaders from across the state of Washington. So again, the final awards will be based on those criteria, and the range will be from $2,500 to $25,000, but all organizations will be eligible for up to the $25,000 maximum.
Thanks, Michael. Our next question is, can applications be submitted in languages other than English?
I can take this one. This is Celine again. We are not able to accept applications in languages other than English, but we do have translated the application materials into 10 additional languages and make those available on our website. This application is primarily quantitative, which means that we are mostly asking for numbers and responses to multiple choice questions, and where we do ask for brief narrative responses. These responses are not required and are not scored.
Thanks, Celine. Next question is, how are you defining rural for the purposes of this grant?
I can answer that one. We will be determining rurality by the population density of the county in which your organization is located.
Thanks, Ellen. Next question is, my organization's award was smaller in 2024 than in 2023. How can I present a stronger application that is more likely to be funded at a higher level?
Thanks, Katie. I'll grab this one. It's Michael Greer. It's a great question, and one that we get quite a bit. As this granting program continues, we have more and more eligible organizations that apply. I think in 2023, we funded 671 grantees, and then in 2024, we funded 811. So we do anticipate that the pool of eligible applicants this year will be large again, meaning that some grantees awards will just inevitably be lower than in previous cycles. What I can recommend is that the most important thing you can do is to make sure that you are reporting your organization's information as full and accurately as possible.
Thank you. Our next question is a popular one. Are you expecting the Community Accelerator grant will be offered for a fourth year?
Yeah, this is Michael again. I'll take this one as well. We applaud and are so grateful to the leadership of the Paul G. Allen Family Foundation in offering this funding yet again for a third year. The program is offered on an annual basis and has been renewed as of today for the 2025 year only. So I would recommend that everyone, if you want to stay up to date on what is available through Arts Fund about this grant program or any other grant programs that we offer, stay tuned to our website and what is going on there, and join our statewide email list. And if you're not already on that email list, you can sign up on the Accelerator page, and there's a place for you to do that.
Thanks, Michael. What if I feel uncomfortable collecting and reporting on my organization's demographic data? Is that information required for the grant?
Yeah, this is another common question, and we completely understand that demographic information is sensitive, and the safety and well-being of your communities is front of mind for everybody right now. So I encourage all applicants to review the demographic data use statement linked on our website and on the programs and demographics form in the application. And if it makes sense for your organization, you can share that demographic data use statement with your staff and your board when collecting this data so that they can fully consent to how their demographic information is being used and stored. The statement contains full details, but please know that Arts Fund will never share your demographic data without your consent. And as to the second part of the question about if you can just answer if the information is required, you always have the option to respond to the demographic questions with do not know, prefer not to answer. And as Celine mentioned in the application walkthrough, your application will not be penalized for this, but it does mean that we will not be able to factor demographic representation into your award consideration.
Thanks, Ellen. All right, our next question is, can you speak more to what you mean by centering Black, Indigenous, people of color, LGBTQ+, and people with disabilities?
Yeah, this is Michael. I'll grab this one. Our hope is that, we are reaching organizations that prioritize these populations in the work that they do and are actively trying to uplift those communities. And that can be through their internal work or through their external programming. I know for many arts and cultural organizations, it's easy to kind of default how we're defining those populations by the programming work, the external programming work that we do. But I just wanted to make mention that if you're an organization where the members of these populations are really present in your staff, in your board, in other decision-making places of your org, you also have a strong case to make for centering those populations. So ultimately, what we're looking for is for you to define what centering means to your organization and to make an honest evaluation of who you are, what you do, and the populations that you are trying to center and uplift.
Thanks. Thanks you all. Thanks everyone who helped answer these questions. I think that's all we have time for today. And thanks to everyone who submitted questions. I know that there's still a lot of questions in the Q&A box, but I just wanted to let everyone know and reiterate that there are resources. If you have specific questions, please don't hesitate reaching out to our grant making team at accelerator@artsfund.org. And like Ellen mentioned at the top of the webinar, we'll have a phone line available on Tuesdays that you can call, and to reach them on that phone line, the number is 206-788-3051. We are available for you at every step of this process, and please don't hesitate reaching out. We're here to support you. So with that wrapping up, I just wanted to remind everybody who was able to make it this morning that the webinar has been recorded, and we will be posting the recording of this webinar on our website as a resource as soon as possible. A professionally captioned recording will be available in several languages, and we'll share the links out to those in early May. So with that, I'd like to hand it back to Michael to close us out this morning. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Katie. And thanks to Ellen, to Celine, to Katie again, to our ASL interpreters for joining us today. And also thanks to Joe and Annika, who are moderating the chat and helping us to stay up and functional in the back end. And I think first and foremost, I'd say thank you to all of you. Spending the time with us today is it's important, and we know that you are all very busy. And on behalf of Arts Fund and the Paul G. Allen Family Foundation and everyone really that supports this work, I want to acknowledge that it is all of you that are making Washington a better place to live by supporting access to arts and culture in your community. This grant, the Community Accelerator Grant, is designed to further empower your work. And if you meet the eligibility requirements, please apply. We want to help you do what you do in your communities. So with that, I'll say thank you again. Enjoy the rest of this day. And if you are eligible, please apply, and we look forward to going through your application.